Hi, this is Rachel from the blog thislovelylittle.farmhouse.com, and today I want to share with y'all 14 easy things that you can start decluttering right now, even when you feel overwhelmed with all the stuff, because I totally get that. I still sometimes feel overwhelmed with all of the stuff that you want to get rid of it and you want to declutter, but it's just you're paralyzed because there's so much to deal with. So these are easy things that you can start with that you're not attached to, that they're not sentimental, they're not difficult, they're easy, just stuff that you have too much of that you can get out of your house and feel good about and get the ball rolling with decluttering. If this is the first time that you've been to my channel, welcome and thank you so much for joining. I appreciate every single person that watches my videos, that shares them, that visits my blog and shares my blog posts. It helps me so much. All this online stuff has to do with algorithms and likes and comments and shares, so it is so helpful to anyone doing online business when viewers and readers do share and comment and all those things. So I appreciate every single one of you. If you're enjoying it, please subscribe. Hit that button to subscribe. It does mean a lot to me. And let's jump right in. Okay. So the whole thing about clutter for me is that clutter makes it really difficult to clean because there's so much stuff, and before you can clean you have to move all the stuff. So either you just move the clutter to a different place so you can clean there, or you have to find a place to put it or put it away if it has a place. It's just kind of this vicious cycle. By the time I'm done putting away all the clutter, I'm too tired to clean, so nothing ever gets cleaned. It just gets moved around and repositioned and maybe put away. But that's the problem with so much stuff and so much clutter, is that you can't actually clean because there's so much stuff. So clutter is such a mental thing, and I think a lot of it comes from this, like, I'm not a psychologist and I don't have any kind of degree in anything like that. But what makes the most sense to me is a poverty mindset. And basically what that means is that it comes from a place of lacking. So either maybe you grew up poor and didn't have a lot, or you, as an adult, you live paycheck to paycheck just hoping that the next check covers your bills. It's like a survival mode, like a perpetual survival mode where you never have enough. And it creates this mental space of a poverty mindset where you're scared to get rid of something because you might not be able to afford it later on, or maybe you can use that scrap of something instead of having to go buy something new. So that's the whole poverty mindset thing, and it can easily lead to hoarding because like I said, you don't want to get rid of something because you might need it. And a really good example of this is people who lived through the Great Depression, because they knew what it meant to not have something. They knew what it was to go without, and so they didn't throw anything away. My parents, they bought this house that was built in like the 1890s, and when they bought it, it was piled up so much with so much stuff, and a lot of it was just trash because they didn't throw anything away. They had like drawers of chip bags and little pieces of string and paper that one side was written on but one side wasn't, and just all kind of stuff like that. That it's kind of, we just think that's trash, but they saw it as something they could use again. But they lived through extreme poverty and they valued anything that they got their hands on, even if it was trash and clutter. So that's kind of a visual example of what the poverty mindset can do to you and how it can lead to hoarding and more clutter. So that's something that you have, if that is your reason for clutter, that's definitely something that you have to work on for yourself. But these are easy things to get rid of, that you're not attached to them, and most of the stuff, it's stuff that you don't use. So it's not like you're getting rid of something you're gonna need. None of them are. Most of us have way more stuff than what we need, and so getting rid of some of the excess, you're not getting rid of things you need, it's just excess. That's all it is. It's too much. So what are these 14 things? Number one Number 1, koozies. And I know this seems like a really weird thing to have on a decluttering list, but just hear me out on this, okay? When me and my husband got married a little bit over 4 years ago, there was a whole entire kitchen drawer full of koozies. And do you know how much he used them? Never. Like, he never used them. They were just in there. And when I asked him about them, he was like, well, you know, I might use them sometime, or yeah, I got them from here and here and here, and they were whatever. But he didn't use them. And so I got rid of all but like 2 or 3 of them. And then those sat in the drawer and they never got used. So I threw them out too. And you know how many times he's asked about them since then? 0. So it might not be koozies for you. It might be you have a cabinet full of plastic cups from parades, or you might have a drawer full of pens and half of them don't work. Whatever it might be, something, but it's like a whole excess of those type of things that never get used. Just get rid of it and it won't be missed. And if it does, get 1 or 2, but get what you need, not an excess. Along those same lines, another thing in the kitchen is dishes. So I had started a long time ago collecting up dishes for when I got married. And I had a lot. I had a whole stack of plates. I had stacks of saucers and plates and bowls and cups and all those things to use when I got married. Well, that translated for me to having dirty dishes piling up and clean dishes piling up, because I hate doing dishes. And if you're anything like me, dishes and laundry, they're like the bane of my existence. I hate, and they never end, so it's just a constant struggle. But having an excess of them makes it that much harder, because it allows me to procrastinate and it allows me to pile them up before I finally say, okay, I have to do this. So only having like 2 or 3 sets to where we can eat and we need to clean them and put them away, or we can eat and then we need to clean them and we'll eat off of them again the next meal. It's so much better, and it cut down on my cleaning time, it cut down on the washing time, and it just really works so much better for our family. Now, I didn't get rid of all my dishes. I just got one of those big, huge Tupperware things. And I think I even got mine Rubbermaid, a big, huge Rubbermaid from the dollar store or Walmart. And I wrapped all my dishes in paper and I put them up in the attic so that if we break any, or as our family grows, we can just go up there and get 1 or 2 down as we need them. And I won't have to buy dishes for a really long time. But they're not in my cabinet, and they're not making more work and more clutter in my kitchen than I already have. And I'm already overwhelmed with it. I don't need more. And another one is Tupperware. I don't know, maybe you don't, but the Tupperware drawer is just something that no matter what, it always is in chaos. There's always containers without lids and lids without containers, and you know, random yogurt containers that you didn't throw away when they got empty, and sour cream containers and everything else. So the Tupperware drawer is a really good place to start decluttering, because there are so many that lids without containers and containers without lids, and you can just chunk those. And also what I have done is I've switched almost completely to storing leftovers in mason jars. And there are a few different reasons that I like them. One, because the lids are pretty much universal. You either have regular mouth or you have wide mouth, and you can use them on all your jars, the same size lid. So it's not a, you know, you don't have this lid for that size and all that. And then they're clear, so you can easily see what leftovers you have in the refrigerator, which helps us to use them better and minimizes the things that get shoved to the back of the fridge and forgotten about. So that I really like about them. And then also, if something does get shoved in the back of the refrigerator and you forget about it for, you know, a couple of weeks, and when you pull it out it's green, Tupperware plastic will absorb those smells of the ruined food, but glass won't. So that's another reason that I really like using the mason jars. I do still have a few random containers that maybe are different sizes for like a casserole or something like that, but for the most part we've almost entirely switched to mason jars, and it's really working out well for us. The Tupperware, it's like the kitchen equivalent to losing socks in the dryer. I do not understand how it works. I don't understand how it happens, but you're never going to end up with the same of both of them. It disappears. If anyone knows what happens to Tupperware lids and socks in the dryer, comment and let me know, because I will never understand how that works. Okay, so moving on from Tupperware. Magazines. I know magazines are really fun to look at, they're really fun to get, and also I'm a very visual person, so I have a hard time seeing something in my mind. I have to see it on paper. So I love looking at magazines and getting inspired by the projects and the decorations and the recipes, but I need that in order to be inspired for something, or you know, stuff like that. So if you're visual like me, you might love magazines. The problem with magazines is that you might have a couple subscriptions and they come in the mail every month. But if you don't throw them away, they pile up super fast and it's just clutter. Because chances are you're not going to pick them up and look at them all the time. They're just going to sit there. One way that you can deal with this is take out your favorite. Like if you have a project you really want to do, or you have a recipe that you really want to work on or learn how to make, pull it out and punch holes in it and stick it in a binder. Keep the binder, all those things in one place, and throw the rest of the magazines away, because then it won't be more clutter, but you'll have what you want, so you can flip through it if you remember where it is and you want to look for it. The one thing to watch out for is don't let magazine clutter turn into paper clutter, because then you've just traded one for the other and you're no better off. But I do like magazines. I don't subscribe to any for that reason. If I see one that I really love in the store, I'll buy it, but I have to really like it. Number 5, toys that never get played with. Now if you have kids, you know that kids get so many toys and they don't play with them all. They can't. There's no way they can play with all the toys they get. And so some get shoved in the closet, they get shoved in the toy chest, they're just laying around in the room, whatever the case may be. But it's a good chance that if you have kids, they have toys that they never play with. Now I will caution you, if you're gonna go decluttering toys, make sure your kids are not around, because even if they're like 3 or 4 years past the age of playing with that toy, as soon as you pull it out to get rid of, oh, I've been looking for that. It's gonna be their favorite toy in the world, and they're gonna throw a fit when you try to get rid of it. So maybe either do it during nap time or when they're outside playing with their dad on the weekend, or whatever the case may be. But take my word for it, it's not fun to try to declutter toys when your kids are around. The toys that never get played with are a good place to start. And also, broken toys are toys that are missing parts, because another thing, that's just trash. That's just trash laying around. And so go ahead and while you're sorting through them and getting the ones that don't get played with, if you see some that are missing parts or that are broken, just go ahead and toss them in the trash and get rid of them. Number 7. Now this one makes me feel personally called out, because it's something that I am bad about doing. It's something breaks and you put it wherever on the counter because you're gonna fix it. Guilty. I do this all the time. But I never get around to fixing it. It just sits there and sits there and sits there, and I don't fix it. So if it's something breaks and it's something that you're not using immediately, or you don't need it immediately, or you can go and replace it relatively inexpensive, just throw it away and get a new one. If it is something that's expensive and you can fix it, by all means go ahead and fix it, but do it. Don't be like me. Don't be a procrastinator. Just go ahead and fix it and be done with it and put it away wherever it goes. So don't be like me. I just stepped on my toes. All right, next, clothes that you don't wear or you haven't worn in however long, like say a year. If you've gone all that time and you've never worn it, chances are you're never gonna wear it. So you should just put it in a bag, take it to the thrift store, and let someone else get use out of it. The ones that are hard for me in this category are clothes that were my favorites. I don't even still wear them, but I really loved them when I wore them, and so for some reason they're just hard. That's when it kind of comes into the sentimental stuff, but just let them go. Somebody else can enjoy them just as much as you or I did, and then they won't be cluttering up our closets and we'll have more space. Same lines, shoes. I don't know if you fit the typical female stereotype of having like 50 or 100 pairs of shoes in your closet. I don't personally. I don't have very many shoes at all. Just not into the shoe thing. But if you do, I bet, and even if you don't, I bet you have pairs of shoes sitting in your closet you never wear. I do, and I don't even have that many pairs of shoes. So shoes is another good place. You can clear out some space in your closet and have more room for the things that you actually do like, and be able to have it neater and more organized because you don't have the extra stuff that you don't need and don't like, taking up space and keeping you from seeing the things that you do like. So you'll be able to use them and enjoy them even more. Okay, now this next one is kind of a touchy topic for some people. Books. Because I'm a book lover. I enjoy books, I like books, and I value books because of the information that's in them. Especially, I love history. So history books and stuff like that. I'm not going to get into all the change in history stuff. But there are a lot of times when we buy books and you read it once and you will never pick it up and read it again. Or else you buy it with good intentions to read it and then you don't. Or maybe you, or maybe you inherited books and really you probably will never read them. They're not even your genre. So just get rid of them and save the space that you have for things that you will really actually love and enjoy. Because there are books that you'll read and then you will reread and reread and reread and enjoy them every single time. I have books like that, and those are the books that I keep. Another good option, if you're into that kind of thing, is getting a Kindle or something that you can buy books digitally. You can do ebooks and have, you know, tons of books on your Kindle instead of taking up space from the physical books. But I know that there's just something about a physical book that is different. I'm a physical book kind of person. I like them better. So if that's you, check out your local library because they have so many books, and they actually will order books for you from a different branch of the library if they don't have it there. So you have infinite choices on books you can read, and you don't have to buy them and you don't have to store them. Read them and take them back and get something different. So that's a really good option if you are a book lover but you want to have less clutter, is check out your library because they have a lot of really good options out there. Okay, along the same entertainment vein is movies, because I don't know about you, but we have a whole cabinet full of movies and there are a lot of them that don't ever get watched. So sometimes you buy movies and you think you're gonna love it and then you don't. Or maybe same thing, maybe somebody gives you a whole bunch of movies and you just keep them, even if they don't look like you're gonna like them. So get rid of some of that stuff and make more space. Or, you know, one thing that helped us is we just got a cabinet, my dad actually built it, which is awesome, for keeping our movies in. And now they're neat and they're organized and they're not just an eyesore sitting out. So either figure out a really good storage solution like that, or just get rid of them. It's not, you know, you probably won't miss them. And the digital thing is there's so many options these days with smart TVs and things like Amazon Prime and Roku and Netflix and Hulu. They have so many different of those kind of companies that you don't even have to have the physical movies. You can have digital copies of them or rent them digitally, or all that good stuff, stream. So look into some of that if you're really into movies but you want to start minimalizing and getting rid of some of that clutter. Another thing that is easy to declutter is old tech stuff. And what I'm talking about here is actual old, like, junk, you know. When we got married, another one of these cases, was an old computer screen in the closet in one of the bedrooms. And when I asked, like, I'm talking about like 90s big, huge, clunky computer screen and a computer and like a keyboard and speakers and the whole setup shoved in the bottom of the corner of the closet. And when I asked my husband about it, he told me that the computer worked but the monitor didn't. And I was just like, why is it in there? Why is it still there if it doesn't work? So if you have old tech like that that doesn't work, chargers that you don't have the phones for anymore, or stuff like that, just get rid of it. You don't need it. It doesn't work. Get rid of it. I'm not talking about stuff like Super Nintendos and Ataris and old game systems, because those are cool and they're still a lot of fun. And actually there are people who look for them, so you could sell them on something like eBay if you have stuff like that but you really don't want it. But don't throw that stuff away, please. I love antiques too much. Please don't throw it away. Okay, next is cleaning supplies. And this sounds really bad to say, but I'm not really a huge cleaner. But somehow I still had amassed this collection of cleaning supplies. And when I started moving more towards non-toxic and healthy and trying to eliminate a lot of the harmful chemicals in our lives, I ended up with still this whole closet of cleaning supplies, and I only use one. I use my Thieves Cleaner for practically everything in the house. It's non-toxic, it doesn't have chemicals in it. I can feel confident using it on my kitchen counters all the way to my toilet, and I don't have to worry about if my, kid at this point wants to use it. I don't have to stress about them getting chemicals all over their bodies or breathing in the fumes or anything like that. So I love my Thieves Cleaner, but I still had all this other stuff that I never used. Going through all of that stuff, and the next category that I'm going to talk about, was one of the most satisfying feelings ever. It felt wonderful to get all of that stuff that I knew was harmful out of my house and thrown away. So that's a really good place to start if you're on this journey of getting the chemicals and getting the toxins and all that stuff. Like, even if you're not switching over your products to like non-toxic kind of stuff, I bet you still have stuff in there that you never use. It's just taking up space and it doesn't get used. And if you haven't used it to this point, you probably won't use it. So just get rid of it. Let it go. The other that is pretty much going to be a mirror to this is toiletries. That was another area that I was really shocked by how much stuff I had and how much of it I didn't use, especially after I started switching over to more less toxic things, less chemicals, things that weren't going to be soaking in bad stuff into my body. I was shocked by the amount of stuff in my bathroom, drawers, cabinets, that I didn't use. It was like 2 big, huge bags full of stuff. Threw it away. It was the most satisfying feeling. It felt so good to get rid of that stuff. And it inspired me to keep going with more. So I hope these things help you. Just start with easy stuff, because decluttering can be really difficult. And you get to this point where it's all hard because you get past the easy stuff. But if you're feeling completely overwhelmed and you don't know where to start, these items are a good place to start because they're not difficult. They are easy. You're not attached to them. And I hope that it helps you. It really makes me excited to get rid of this stuff because it's just stuff and it's just making my house messy, keeping me from being able to clean and be happy in my home. So give it a try and let me know if you get rid of some of those stuff. And let me know, do you have other ideas that you like? Things that are really easy that you got rid of that made you feel satisfied? Let me know in the comments below. And I am still on this decluttering journey, and that's the thing about it. It is a journey and you have to continually do it. You can't just declutter once and be done with it, because stuff is continually coming into your house and you have to continually be getting it out, or else it's gonna start piling up. So I'm definitely on this journey with y'all. I'm not finished. I'm still in the trenches with getting stuff out of my house and like slip covers and making my house more into a home. Like I said, we've only been married for a little over 4 years, so still have a long way to go, but this is a really good place to start, and especially if you just feel like you don't know where to start. Be sure and check out the description box below, because I'll put the link for the blog post, and I'm probably going to try to add a checklist to it so you can go get the printable checklist and any other links that might be relevant. So be sure and check that out if you're watching this on YouTube. And again, thank you for joining today. I really appreciate you being here, and we will see you in the next video. If this is your first time on the... what was I gonna say? I don't remember. So if I see something... and make, and then... Okay. Do I need to say anything else? Okay, I guess that's it.